Hello, everyone. Welcome to Options with Doug, streaming Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on the Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure: all Bookmap Limited materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure: trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel. That's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. I'm also on X, formerly known as Twitter. My name there is @DougPless. Here are the key tenets to my approach for trading. This is the basis of my approach to trading. I believe that options trades and market maker hedging activity are key drivers of price in many stocks and futures, and certainly in the equity index futures like the S&P 500 and Nasdaq, and the large cap tech stocks that I follow and trade like the Mag 7 stocks. And for the S&P 500, SPX is the underlying index, SPY is the ETF version of that index, and ES is a derivative of SPX. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in SPX and SPY, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with ES futures. And for the Nasdaq 100, NDX is the underlying index. QQQ is the much more liquid ETF version of that index. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in NDX and QQQ, market makers take the opposite side of those trades in NQ futures, which is a derivative of NDX. Questions here. First of all, the focus of my presentation today is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning. And I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as the directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis, and for setups for entries and exits. And when I talk about setups, I will be focusing on an underlying asset. And for example, setups in the S&P 500 can be taken with ES futures or SPY shares, SPY options, SPX options, or even ES options. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel and Discord, as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post. I'll do my best to answer your questions. Hello, Katinga. Welcome. Glad you're here. Hello, Stephen. Welcome. Glad you're here as well. And everyone else, welcome. Glad you're here. All right, here's my agenda for today, Friday, April 19th. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, and events to wrap up the week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today. Then I'll take a look at the live market. And when I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know, and I'll be glad to do that. All right, let's get started with news items, economic data, and events. So first of all, today is options expiration. This is a monthly options expiration. What this chart is showing is market maker delta notional on the vertical axis. And this is for a combined S&P 500, Nasdaq, and Russell 2000. So what this is showing is call delta notional, and this is the April expiration. So this is delta notional by expiration date. Call delta notional, shown with the orange bars above the zero line. Put delta notional in the blue bars below the zero line. So this is showing that the options expiration today is slightly put dominated. And in a typical market where there's not much geopolitical risk, there's an expectation if there's a little bit of a put dominance, the more put dominance, the more you would expect some mean reversion or perhaps a put Vana rally after expiration. That may not be the case due to the geopolitical risk. And certainly today, I think traders don't want to go home with any risk. So that may be what's driving the market lower today. All right, so anyway, slight put domination, which is different from the previous expirations this year that have been heavily call dominated. Excuse me. So in a normal environment, we would expect some reversal perhaps early next week. That may or may not be the case. So a slight put domination. All right, let's move on now from news and go to positional analysis. So I'm going to start with the S&P 500. Here I'm looking at ES chart in Bookmap, ES futures. And this is from the open yesterday afternoon at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And note, news came out about Israel retaliating against Iran. There was a sharp move lower and then a sharp reversal higher that began late last evening, continued up just until after the cash opened today, and then a move down. All right, before I take more time on this chart, I do want to take a look at a larger or higher time frame. I'm going to go to the SPX. Again, that's the underlying index. This is a one-day chart for SPX and Thinkorswim. This rally began late last year, October 30th. SPX rallied up for 5 months, about 1,150 points. And then on April 1st, this correction began. All right, let's take a look now at a 1-hour chart, still in Thinkorswim. This is the top of that green line, the rally that began October 30th. High for SPX right around 52.65. April 1st, correction began and accelerated starting last Friday. Accelerated much faster lower. All right, let's take a look at levels on this chart. First of all, the dashed purple lines are showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. These are based on the options market. This is based on the closing price for SPX from last Friday. These lines remain in place for the entire week. Note SPX is trading below that lower weekly expected move that did act as support earlier this week. And the dashed blue lines are showing the upper and lower daily expected move. Also based on the options market, the closing price for SPX from yesterday. SPX did trade down below that lower daily expected move earlier today. Note I do post these levels in the Options-Doug chat channel every evening the day before. So also both based on the options market, closing price for SPX, and for the daily expected move from the previous day. All right, the red lines are Spotgamma levels. These are provided to Spotgamma subscribers. They're available on a variety of trading platforms. This is Thinkorswim. They're proprietary Spotgamma levels, again, available to Spotgamma subscribers. I'm going to point out the key daily levels, also the build of levels now below 5,000. For a while now, this 5,000 level was the lowest level. That's the put wall, the absolute gamma strike. And SPX is trading below that level. All right, so let's point out the key daily levels. So again, 5,000. That is the absolute gamma strike, which is the strike with the largest absolute positive and negative gamma. That's also the put wall. That's the strike with the largest negative gamma. That should act as support. So SPX trading below that 5,000 support level. The next level up is 5,100. That is the volatility trigger. That's Spotgamma's proprietary volatility flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to enhance or increase volatility. And that has definitely been contributing to this sharper move lower this week, or for the last week. Negative gamma environment, bigger moves, wider moves, more trend days. And then finally, this is kind of strange, the call wall moved up to 5,500. It had been at 5,300 for quite some time, and I certainly doubt that it will be remain at that level next week after options expiration today. So the call wall, the strike with the largest net positive gamma, can be expected to act as resistance, certainly well out of play for today, with SPX below the put wall. All right, so those are the key daily levels, and again, levels are starting to build below 5,000 now. All right, let's wrap up our view of SPX with the 1-minute chart. So I'm showing about 3.5 days worth of data on this 1-minute chart just to show the downtrend. Since yesterday, right around 11 a.m., SPX making a series of lower highs. And again, SPX did trade down below the lower daily expected move today, now trading above. Here's the put wall at 5,000. So SPX did chop around that level earlier today and then broke lower. All right, let's go to Bookmap now. I'm going to zoom in on price action right around from 8:30 a.m. on. Right, so in Bookmap, I have my own cloud notes, so I can show SPX levels. There's that 5,000 absolute gamma strike put wall. That's for SPX, so I'm showing SPX levels. Also SPY levels on this chart. There's the SPY 500 absolute gamma strike put wall. And then key levels for ES. There's the lower daily expected move for ES. I do calculate that separately from the expected moves for SPX. All right, so right now there's an offset, a difference between ES and SPX. That changes a little bit every day. Right now it is somewhere between 37 and 38. I ended up using 37 this morning. So I'm showing SPX 5,000 at ES 5,037. It may be closer to 38 now. It does change a little bit during the day. All right, so let's point out some key levels. First of all, shifts in levels for the SPX. That call wall did move higher. Don't expect that to last. There were no shifts in levels for SPY. So minor shifts in levels, kind of inconsequential for the S&P 500. All right, let's point out some key levels in play for today. First of all, as I mentioned, this 500 absolute gamma strike put wall for SPY, acting as resistance earlier today. We'll talk about setups in a few minutes. Note that the S&P 500 did make a series of lower highs before breaking lower. Again, we'll talk about setups in a few minutes. Lower highs continued. All right, so we know that 500 level acting as resistance. Next level of resistance was this 498.99, 499 combo 2 level. Combo levels have definitely been in play for today, acting as resistance. Most recently, this 497.49 level may be acting as resistance. And then finally, the 495 large gamma 3 level acting as support or close to it. All right, so those are the levels in play for today. All right, again, we'll take a look at setups in a few minutes. All right, let's move on to Nasdaq. All right, Nasdaq, this is, again, the full range of price action since the open yesterday afternoon at 6 p.m. In this case for Nasdaq moved down to this NDX 17,046 combo 2 level. Just above that is the QQQ 415 level. And then the NQ 17,200. So a cluster of levels there acting as support late last night. And then Nasdaq made it almost down to that level again after the cash open. All right, so let's zoom in on more recent price action. All right, Anurag, hello. Anurag asks, what are the chances that SPX will close about 49.90? We'll take a look at that. I'll show you how to use the options market to come up with that. Otherwise, I don't, I can't speculate on that. All right, so before I take a closer look at this chart, I do want to take a look at the underlying index charts. I'm going to take a quick look at QQQ. QQQ, the regular trading hours shown on the dark shaded portion to the right. Again, combo levels in play. This 422.51 combo 2 level acting as resistance. Here's the put wall for QQQ at 420. That's also the absolute gamma strike. Acting as resistance as price move lower. And then there's the QQQ 415 level. Let's see what that level is. Give me just a moment. Whoops. All right, QQQ 415 is a large gamma 4 level. All right, so those are the levels in play for QQQ. Let's take a quick look at NDX. Then we'll get back to Bookmap. NDX is trading well below its put wall at 17,500. Most of the levels up above the 17,046 level. That is, let's see what that is. Actually, first of all, let's focus on this 255 level. Another combo level, combo 1 level combining NDX and QQQ, gamma weighted open interest, acting as resistance. Let's check on this 46 level. Give me just a moment. Sorry. $46, combo 2 level, so another combo level. All right, let's get back to Bookmap now. All right, so we know the levels in play. Yeah, there it is right there, that 46, combo 2 level, and the 415 level just above that. And then here's the pre-market resistance, NDX 17,400, large gamma 4 level. Then after the cash open, resistance at that 422.51 QQQ, combo 2 level. All right, again, we'll take a look at setups in a few minutes. And for Nasdaq, there were just minor shifts in levels. For NDX and QQQ, the volatility triggers both shifted lower. All right, let's take a quick look at gamma notional. This is a very negative gamma environment. This is market maker's position on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day. For the S&P 500 and Nasdaq, note these numbers are all negative, quite negative. These numbers did change. For SPX, gamma notional became slightly more negative, and for SPY, slightly less negative, and for QQQ, more negative. But still sharply negative. So let's take a quick look at the Vana model, see what that means. So what this chart is showing, I'm going to zoom in on this chart. This chart is showing market maker's delta notional on the vertical axis and the spot price for SPX on the horizontal axis. There are two curves on this chart. The light gray curve shows how market maker's delta notional may change with changes in price only, and the purple curve adds implied volatility to the equation. That shows how market maker's delta notional may change with changes in price and implied volatility. And that change in delta with a change in implied volatility is the Vana effect. So what this is indicating, as price drops, implied volatility increases, market makers will have to hedge more delta notional due to that change in volatility. All right, so let's take a look at prices now. And for SPX, the high of the day was right around 5,018, right there. So what this is showing is price has been dropping. Market makers' delta notional is increasing. Their delta notional is increasing. They have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. All right, so this is typical of a very negative gamma environment. On the other hand, if price does start to increase, market makers can buy back short futures, and that would be a put Vana rally. So this is showing that market makers are trading with price in both directions, up and down, tending to enhance or increase volatility. All right, so positional analysis. That should wrap that up. So my thesis for the day, definitely looking for higher volatility, trend day, and based on the shifts in levels, there was really just minor shifts in levels, so neutral based on that, but really considering the geopolitical events and traders not necessarily wanting to go home long, looking for a little bit of or definitely risk off today. All right, Anurag, let's get to your question. So Anurag asked, what are the chances that SPX will close about 49.90? So this is an options chain for today. Note the AM expiration, that's already gone. So let's take a look at 49.90. So SPX is trading right around that level now. This is 49.90. So it really looks like just about 50%. I'm looking at delta for the 49.90 strike. So right around 50%. That's how I would look at it. That's the delta for the put. Here's the delta for the call. All right, so Anurag, I hope that answers your question. All right, let's take a look at some setups now. So first of all, for the SP 500, let's take a look and see what options traders are doing. So everything that we've looked at so far, other than Bookmap, is based on static data. Gamma-weighted open interest. Spotgamma takes open interest data from OCC, applies their algorithms to that data, and comes up with the levels that I'm showing on my charts. All right, so now let's move on to real-time data to execution. I'm going to start with the SP 500 and take a look at what options traders are doing. This is the HIRO signal, Hedging Impact Real-Time Options, HIRO. This is available to Spotgamma subscribers. So this is showing in real time what options traders are doing in market maker hedging activity for a combined signal for SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures. All right, the white line on this chart is showing price for SPX, and the purple line is the HIRO signal. A falling HIRO signal indicates traders are taking negative delta positions. They're buying puts and or selling calls. And a rising HIRO signal indicates they are buying calls and or selling puts. They're taking positive delta positions. All right, KP asked, are the definitions pinned to your Discord channel? For example, what does the combo 2 level mean? For definitions, just go to spotgamma.com. They have an extensive, a great help center there. Free resources. Go to the free resources at spotgamma.com, and you should find definitions for everything that I'm talking about, detailed explanations. All right, let's zoom in on this chart. And I'm going to zoom in and focus on, first of all, the morning. So this is what the HIRO signal looked like in the morning. Note initially traders were taking positive delta positions. SPX reversing higher off the put wall key gamma strike 5,000. This flow alert comes in, signaling significant options activity, can often act as a mean reverting signal. The hero signal moves lower, levels off, then just after 10 a.m. starts to move lower as traders were taking negative delta positions. All right, let's go to Bookmap. Let's zoom in. So we know right around 9:45 traders started taking negative delta positions. Oops. Note all the liquidity in the that's the heat map in Bookmap, showing a history of the limit orders in the order book. Those are limit sell orders right around ES 5,057, 58 to maybe 5,061, acting as resistance in this case. Volume dots are showing market buy minus sell. Green volume dots indicate more buyers than sellers. Price reverses as traders start taking negative delta positions. Magenta dots showing more sellers than buyers. Aggressive sellers start to come in. S&P 500 does a retest of this SPY 500 level, and ES makes a series of lower highs. Aggressive sellers come in. Price moves lower, does a retest of this combo 2 level, and continues lower. Note the cumulative volume delta shown by that magenta line on the subchart, indicating, again, cumulative volume delta being negative there. All right, so that's the short setup, the morning short setup in the SP 500. All right, let's take a look at this reversal right around 12:30, 12:45. Go to Bookmap. Note there was quite a bit of lead. Traders started taking positive delta positions right around 10:40. That leveled off a bit. Then right around 12:40, they started taking positive delta positions again. Flow alert comes in, signaling significant options activity. Price moves higher. Looks like the hero signal is now moving lower. And S&P 500 finding resistance at that 5,000 level. Let's go back to Bookmap. And there you go. Resistance at 5,000. All right, let's move on to Nasdaq. All right, Nasdaq. All right, Anurag has kind of a long comment there. Let's take a look at Nasdaq now, and I'll focus on the NDX and the Mag 7 signal and Hero in just a moment. All right, so this is the Nasdaq, NQ futures and Bookmap. So let's go back to Hero, see what options traders are doing. So I'm going to take a look at a couple of Hero signals here. First of all, this Nasdaq signal. This is a combined signal for NDX and QQQ. And note, earlier today it was moving lower, indicating traders were taking negative delta positions. And then right around 11:45 started to move higher. What I typically look at, so that is combining, let's zoom out. So that's combining NDX and QQQ into one signal. What I've been looking at for the NASDAQ is this Mag 7 signal. I think it provides more clarity, a better signal for the NASDAQ. What this is showing is options trades and market maker hedging activity for a combined signal for the stocks known as the Magnificent Seven. That is Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla. These stocks make up a very large component of the Nasdaq 100. They drive price. All right, let's zoom in on this chart. So this is showing that options traders have been taking negative delta positions in the Mag 7 since the open. That continues to move lower. All right, let's go take a look at Nasdaq now in Q futures. Downtrend began before the cash open, reversal at NDX 17,400 large gamma 4 level, and the NQ 17,550 level just above that. All right, let's zoom in a little bit, look at the cash open. And again, this combo 2 level, QQQ combo 2 level, acting as resistance. Nasdaq making a series of lower highs as options traders were taking negative delta positions in the Mag 7 stocks. So a great short from NQ 500 almost down to 200, 300-point move lower. And pullback entries. Here's one at that 255 combo 1 level, and the QQQ 420 level just below that, just above that. And then here's VWAP, also acting as further confirmation of the move lower. Notice price starts moving lower. Aggressive sellers start to come in, shown by the magenta volume dots, also the falling cumulative volume delta. And as price is moving lower, sell stop orders helping to fuel that move lower. That's shown by the falling orange, yellow line, also the on-chart indicator, sell stop orders. All right, let's go back to Hero now. Let's see what traders are doing in the Mag 7. All right, so I hope this is clear. This is what I use for the Nasdaq. Note the Mag 7 signal making lower highs there as Nasdaq was making a higher high, setting up a nice short right there just a few minutes ago. Let's go take a look at that. That's right there at 418. That it acted as support earlier. Aggressive sellers come in, shown by the magenta volume dots. As traders continue to take negative delta positions in the Mag 7 stocks. All right, let's take a look at some stocks. And the first I want to take a look at is Coinbase. Let me turn this absorption indicator off just to make this a little bit easier to look at. All right, let's see what options traders have been doing first. Then we'll take a look at the chart in Bookmap. So let's go to Coinbase. Zoom in on this just a little bit. So initially from the open, traders were taking positive delta positions in Coinbase. Coinbase found support at the 220 key gamma strike. And moved higher to the hedge wall at 227.50 as traders were taking positive delta positions. Note this flow alert comes in as price makes the final push up to that 227.50 hedge wall. Let's zoom in on this just a little bit. All right, so again, Coinbase finds support at the 220 key gamma strike. Traders take positive delta positions. Flow alert comes in just as Hero makes a final push up to the 227.50 hedge wall. Hero line levels off and then starts to move lower, and Coinbase moves lower. All right, so let's go take a look at that in Bookmap. I'm going to zoom in. All right, one other thing that I'm showing in my chart, this magenta line is a correlation. This is the correlation tracker in Bookmap. Let me show you what this is. So first of all, note that I have subscribed to Bitcoin futures, and this is, you could use any form of Bitcoin really, either the spot Bitcoin or maybe one of the tracking ETFs, or here in this case, I'm using the Bitcoin futures. So what this is the correlation tracker. This is an add-on in Bookmap. So I have this Bitcoin futures. I've added that to my correlation tracker for Coinbase. So I can see the correlation between Bitcoin and Coinbase. It's pretty strong. All right, so remember, Bitcoin found support at the 220 key gamma strike, reversed higher, and note just a minute or a couple of minutes before that, Bitcoin started to move higher. Bitcoin futures. Bitcoin futures leveled off. Let me adjust this chart just a little bit more so we can see that 227.50 hedge wall level. Zoom in just a little bit more. All right, so again, support at 220 key gamma strike. Bitcoin started to move higher. Final push up to the 227.50 hedge wall. Traders are taking negative delta positions, or they leveled off. The hero signal leveled off, and then final test of this 227 level, they start taking negative delta positions. Bitcoin had leveled off, starts to move lower, and price moves back down to the 220 key gamma strike. So this is combining these key levels, 220, 227.50, along with Hero, what options traders are doing, as well as the correlation with Bitcoin to provide more clarity about trading Coinbase here. All right, let's go back to Hero now. And again, remember this flow alert here acting as a mean reverting signal. Sharp move higher up to 227.50. Options traders take the foot off the gas, finally start taking negative delta positions. Final test of 227, and Coinbase moves lower. Another flow alert comes in. And in this case, Coinbase does move below the 220 key gamma strike. Finally, options traders start taking positive delta positions again, and price had already started to move higher. So let's go take a look at that reversal right around 1035, 1040. And it didn't last long. 220 level did act as resistance. All right, so let's go back to Bookmap now. Sorry about that. Takes a while to zoom. So there's that move lower. Well down below 220, almost to 215. Then finding a resistance around the 220 level up to 221, and then moves lower. Note what Bitcoin was doing here. Consolidation again, then started to move lower. All right, let's move on to Meta. All right, Olive Storm asks, which software is this? Quant Tower. Now, I don't know what Quant Tower is. I'm using Bookmap. This is Bookmap right here. And then I'm also using Spotgamma Hero. That's what I'm showing. All right, so this is Bookmap. Anurag, hello, asked, could I look at the Hero Signal NDX versus Mag 7? Big divergence today. Anurag already looked at that. I thought I already answered that. Now, I didn't look at NDX. I look at the combined signal of NDX and QQQ. That's the Nasdaq signal, just like the S&P 500 signal. So initially, the Nasdaq signal was moving lower, just like the Mag 7 signal, but I almost always use the Mag 7 signal for the Nasdaq. All right, so Anurag, if you missed that, go back and watch the replay. All right, so here's Meta. I've noted the Spotgamma levels on this chart. Big move lower in Meta today. Here's the 500 key gamma strike. And note the 505 call wall did act as resistance before the cash open. Sorry about all these lines on this chart. I think I'm going to have to remove the intermediate lines just like I do for NVIDIA. All right, so 505 call wall acting as resistance before the cash open. And this is obviously the cash open. Very negative opening print shown by the huge magenta volume dot. Price moves lower, always below VWAP. Some consolidation around the 495 hedge wall. Move down to the 485 put wall that initially acted as support. Good for a 5-point rebound. And now Meta moved below that level down to the 480 level. Note the high levels of liquidity in the order book, particularly at the zeros and the fives. This is very typical for a stock. This high liquidity in case of, at the open here, these were limit buy orders. They come in, the heat map shows the history of the limit orders in the order book. They come in for stocks typically at the cash open and remain in place until they are filled. And those high levels of liquidity do act as magnets for price. All right, so Meta now trading below its put wall, maybe trying to recover. Let's go take a look at Hero. Let's go on to Meta. Zoom in a bit. All right, so the levels that I was just talking about that I have on my Bookmap chart are shown here as well. Note the flow alert that comes in just about a minute or two after the cash open, indicating significant options activity. And Hero moves sharply lower. Some consolidation again at the 495 hedge wall, then moves lower again down to the put wall. Some consolidation. And then around 11:45, 12 o'clock, Hero resumes moving lower, and Meta breaks below the 485 put wall, now consolidating around that level. Let's go back to Bookmap. All right, so now Meta back below the 485 put wall. Let's see what, Let's take a closer look and see what options traders are doing today. I'm going to separate out puts and calls, and I'm going to have to jump back. Let's go to Meta. So what this is showing, let me zoom in a bit. All right, so up until about 12:30, 12:45, traders were selling calls. That's shown by the falling orange line. They're also buying puts. That's shown by the falling blue line. The direction of movement of these lines indicate options delta. So again, falling blue line, traders are buying puts. Falling orange line, traders are selling calls. Both the orange line, blue line moving in the same direction. This is a very powerful directional indicator. And price moves lower. So when traders take these negative delta positions, market makers take the opposite side of those trades, and they have to hedge their delta exposure with stock. In this case, they're selling Meta stock. All right, let's take a look at NVIDIA. Very clear directional indicator here. Flow alert comes in. Let me zoom in so you can see that. So there's the flow alert. Traders buying puts and or selling calls very aggressively in NVIDIA. Price moves lower. And continues to move lower. Let's go to Bookmap. Go to NVIDIA. So here's NVIDIA. A little bit of chop consolidation at the open. Trend break just after 10 a.m. Aggressive sellers come in, shown by the magenta volume dot. CVD was already dropping lower, and price moves lower. Now trading down below 800. Let me check something here. So for NVIDIA, 850 is the put wall. So the, yeah, there it is, way up here. 850 is the key gamma strike put wall. So NVIDIA opened below its put wall and is trading well below now. All right, does anyone have any stocks they want me to take a look at? I'll be glad to take a look at any stocks. I know WRB likes to take a look at Tesla. Pretty choppy day here in Tesla. Let's see what options traders are doing. I'm going to change back to the total signal before I go to Tesla. See, very choppy day initially. Traders taking negative delta positions, then positive delta. Note all the flow alerts here indicating chop, indicating change from positive to negative delta and back. Then finally resolves lower. Whoops. Now more chop. Much clearer downtrends in Meta and Nvidia. Oh, Kenobi wants to take a look at Netflix. Good. Thanks for pointing that out. Netflix did report earnings last night. Let's see what options traders are doing today. Taking negative delta positions. So they're selling calls and buying puts. Flow alerts coming in. 10 a.m. All right, that's why I jump. Let's go back. Jump, then go back. I'm going to have to go to Netflix again. Let me just add a tab. So there's your short, right around 580. Flow alerts come in. Hero signal shifts negative. Traders selling calls, buying puts. Netflix moves lower. Back to the total signals, check the S&P 500. So the S&P 500, the signal not nearly as clear as the Mag 7 signal. And you're welcome, KP, WRB, and Kenobi. You're welcome. So much more clarity here with the Mag 7 signal. And Meta and Nvidia. If you're using options trades to inform your trades. So let's take a look at some alerts here. You know, I've mentioned these alerts several times. I use these to get my attention, signaling significant options activity. So it looks like the hero signal for Apple is shifting a little bit higher. Let's take a look at Tesla. Here in this case, looks like this is resolving lower. Let's go take a look at Tesla and Bookmap. So back to Tesla. So it looks like we missed the short entry in Tesla. Lower high is finally a break below the 149 level. All right, Kenobi asked, how does the flow alert work and what does it mean? All right, let's take a look at something here. Give me just a moment. And let me see if I can find. All right, let me move this over. All right, I snipped this from a recent Spotgamma founder's note. All right, the last sentence here, that is why flow alerts. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. Flow alert shows that notional delta is crossing the zero line, which tells us in this case that total flows are now flipping from net bullish to the net bearish side. So a flow alert indicating a shift from net bullish to net bearish or vice versa. Right, so hope that answers your question. I've been using Hero long before the flow alerts were available, so I measure of delta changing from positive to negative can often act as mean reverting signals. So at the beginning of a move, especially at the beginning of the day, I look at those more as something to get my attention, and I'm watching the direction of Hero. I pointed out many Hero alerts that come in just a couple minutes after the cash open, get my attention. I'm looking at the direction of Hero later on in the day, and I showed examples of this in the SP 500, for example. Let's go back to Hero for the SP 500. I also showed this in Coinbase. So let's take a look at this move. At the top of this move, after a move up, I interpreted this as a mean reverting signal. So you can see the quick shift from positive to negative there. Let's go take a look at Meta. Actually, another mean reverting signal. Let's go to Coin. Let me zoom in on this. Top of a move, especially toward a level that I expect to act as resistance. I'm looking at that as a mean reverting signal. And shortly thereafter, Hero signal levels off, then moves lower. And then finally, right at the beginning of the day, let's look at Meta. So just coming in, minute or two after the cash open, flow alert comes in, Hero signal moving lower. I'm looking for a short entry. All right, so Kenobi, everyone else, I hope that provides some clarity with these flow alerts. So it takes some time watching these to interpret. All right, everyone, my time is up. I want to thank you very much for watching. Thanks for your questions and comments. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday. All right, thanks again. Bye.